Hey guys, welcome back. So now we're getting into part 3 of Shang-Chi versus the Marvel Universe, to where this time he actually fights Wolverine. But what's even bigger than that is the build-up that we're seeing happen here that's been rolling through since Shang-Chi Volume 1. And if it really goes where it looks like it's going, this could be pretty epic. So let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so getting into part 3, we've been talking about this build-up that we've seen snowballing since issue 1, with us seeing the different heroes forming solid reasons on why not to trust Shang, with Shang stepping into his father's seat as Supreme Commander of the Five Weapons Society. And we saw the suspicion build with Spider-Man, with him seeing Shang confiscate King Wildman's life work, which he probably could have turned over to the heroes, but with him doing this at the same time that Peter found out that Shang was also Supreme Commander, it immediately made him question his loyalty. And then after that, in the case of Captain America, who trusted that the two of them were working together to retrieve the Cosmic Cube, but with him finding out that the cube that he was given was a fake, this then put him in the position where his trust for Shang was just all kinds of messed up. But from here we then go to Muckross Lake within Killarney National Park in Ireland. And with hearing this, I'm pretty sure some of you guys just knew off the bat like where this was going. Because when we jump in here, you got this tourist couple who's being taken across the lake, and on their way, dude takes a bite of his bar and just throws it in the water. And when this happens, the tour guide who is taking them over to the Muckross house, he just goes off because this dude has just fed the legendary Mucky, who was like one of your urban myth creatures of the lake, which is one of those things that we still have going on, like for real, in 2021, with these different myths and so on still going. Like you would think with all these better cameras we got in our phones, which are also wonderful at shooting in low light, like you'd think one of these things would have been caught in 4K by now. But as it remains in real life, and I think there's over like 50 different ones like across the world that haven't been proven even to this day, and even if they out there, their page is set to private because ain't nobody seen them in real life to this day. But when this happens and Mucky surfaces, they race to get to the nearest piece of land, and the tour guide tells them that they'll be alright as long as she arrives soon. And as they approach the lakeside, this mysterious woman is out there, to whom the locals refer to as the Lake Witch, and as they approach, she plays the flute and solidifies the notes that she's playing in order to hold this creature back from eating these people. And when this happens, this dude pulls out his phone and he starts filming, and right away he uploads it to his channel, probably gave it a real clickbaity title, and I don't know if he really had time to make a thumbnail or not, but then again it might have just been like a story or something like YouTube stories. But with him getting this shaky footage of the Lake Witch saving them, he only films her, and the guide snatches his phone and he breaks it because the people in this area in the Lake Witch, they have an understanding. She protects them from the lake monster, and they keep her whereabouts a secret from the world. But it's from here where we then jump over to New York City, to where it's here that we find that Shang has built a brand new house of the Deadly Hand, to where on the surface you have like where Shang is running things differently and building his house here in the US. You can look at it on one hand like him making a decision to further separate himself from his father's legacy by him not rebuilding the house of the Deadly Hand in China, but on the other hand, no pun intended, with him building the house instead in the US, it's almost like he's doing exactly what his father had done with the other houses, which in his father's case was moving them to other countries to spy on the other countries after the war. So once again, it's like Shang has the good intention and he's trying to make a good thing out of the Five Weapons Society, but with each decision that he makes, if you only look at his actions and strip away his intentions, then it very much looks like he's doing what his father would. But then while they're here, Master Ling steps in and he calls to their attention a video that's been trending on Twitter. Although he calls it the tweet, and I believe Esme corrected him telling him his Twitter. But as it turns out, the video that the guy had posted, whether it was live or he just posted it before his phone was broken, but after putting it on his channel, the clips have made their way around the internet, and now everyone knows about the Lake Witch. And with Master Ling showing them the footage here, Shang is the only one here who doesn't know specifically who this is. But we quickly find out that this was another one of his half-sisters because Papa was a Rolling Stone. But also, with Master Ling bringing this to their attention, and all of them filling in Shang along the way, it's where we find out that aside from her being their sister, her name is Jilan, and she's originally from the House of the Deadly Staff. And years ago, Zhang Zhu had sent Takeshi to kill her for reasons we'll talk about in a little bit, and like part of it has to do with her wanting to make changes, much like what Shang is trying to do now, but that was only part of their father's reasoning for wanting her dead. But this was like his first mission as the new leader of the House of the Deadly Saber. But with him going on this mission years ago, he intentionally failed it to let her live, but since that encounter, he's kept a piece of her flute as a reminder of his failure, which in a way he still regrets to this day because it also means that he wasn't truly loyal to the previous Supreme Commander. But with hearing this, Shang is like, we're gonna go get her, we're gonna invite her back, so in a way it's like the society taking a step towards redemption. But from here, with them knowing the general area where she was at, Shang, Esme, and Takeshi then made their way to Ireland, with Takeshi bringing the broken piece of Jilan's flute, which they had Master Ling put a spell on so that the broken piece would desire to be whole and lead them back to her. But also with them making their way here to Ireland, there's a ton of locals that have made their way to the Muckross house who have seen the viral video, and they're just chanting and protesting and just going on about how the Lake Witch has got to go, which is also something that's pretty significant in the bigger picture of everything that's kind of unfolding here. But when they arrive in the general area where the piece of her flute leads them to, like not long after they touch ground, she meets them and she takes back that missing piece of her flute / staff, which was also trying to find her. But when she does this, because she sees Takeshi here, she immediately thinks that they're here to kill her. And with her flute / staff being back at 100%, she's able to use it to its full capacity, and she immediately places them into restraint. But with Esme getting her hand free and throwing a dagger slashing Jilan's hand, this breaks her focus, freeing Takeshi, who then immediately goes in for the kill, with him still wanting to prove his loyalty to the Five Weapon Society. But his saber is stopped when Wolverine jumps in, who prior to this point none of these guys were expecting to be here. But with him stopping Takeshi, like right away Logan tries to tell Jilan why he was here, because when that video got out, he was sent here by Beast. But then that's as much as he gets to say, because then right away Esme jumps in to keep him away from Takeshi, and when Logan goes for the two of them, that's where Shang jumps in. And from there, the fight between Shang and Wolverine, it just goes full throttle, because at this point Logan has already heard the rumors about Shang taking over the Five Weapon Society, and at this point from what he's seen so far, he's just like, okay, well I guess that's true. And it's from here where he asks Shang if he's working with the Friends of Humanity, who as we know at this point have moved their focus more so towards symbiotes. But then he also asks if he's working with Xeno, who's the group we had seen back when we were talking about X-Force, who had caught Domino when she was infiltrating their group going undercover. And then finally he asks if Shang was working with the Sapien League, who was a terrorist group that came around after the events of M-Day, who were seeking out mutants and just killing them. And initially with Logan saying this, it just sounds like he's reaching through a number of wild accusations to kind of piece together why Shang, Takeshi, and Esme are here. But when Esme tells Wolverine that him and his people, meaning the people of Krakoa, that they need to stay out of their business, and that being the business of the Five Weapon Society, this is one of those things that calls back to the way that Zhang Zhu used to run things, because he saw mutants as a threat to be a potential colonial superpower, and because of that, under his rule, he would always order the Five Weapon Society to handle mutants with extreme prejudice. But it's here where Logan tells them that it's because of his people why he is here. And it's here where he lets them know that after the Krakoans had seen that viral clip, that he was sent out here to Ireland to extend an invitation to Jilan because she's a mutant. And when Logan says this, it is news to everybody here. Like, nobody knew. And when I say nobody, I mean absolutely nobody. Like, that means Jilan included. But also with hearing this, it's here where they also understand that this is also why Zhang Zhu had ordered for her to be killed. And with hearing this, immediately Takeshi and Esme, they then go to attack her again, because for the two of them, they were born and raised in the tradition of the Five Weapon Society, of which they have been loyal to their entire lives. So with them seeing Jilan still breathing, regardless of the fact of her being their half sister, instead all they see is a mutant, as well as an order that was given by their previous commander, which wasn't fulfilled. And because of this, when they go back after Jilan, Logan then comes back after them. Shang is caught in the middle, and he snatches Takeshi's saber as well as Esme's dagger, blocking Wolverine, stopping him with a mean parry. But then he kicks him mad hard just to separate him from Esme and Takeshi. But this kick then nearly sends Wolverine off a cliff, which is a drop that Wolverine he wouldn't have died from. So when Shang jumps in to catch him, Logan expresses much gratitude, because having a healing factor is a great thing, but having to use it sucks, because it doesn't negate the feeling of death or what would have killed you had you not had it, to where in some cases it may prolong it. But with Shang stopping him from falling to his extended pain, or however you want to put it in this case, this more or less shows him that Shang is really not out here for blood. But then also him saving Wolverine, it kind of takes the same effect on his sister, because when she takes off, Shang chases her down and he lets her know that he's the new Supreme Commander of the Five Weapon Society, he's her brother, and Master Ling told him that she was of a like mind and that she wanted to see the same changes that Shang is trying to make right now. And after speaking to him and talking to Wolverine a little bit more, she tells Wolverine thanks for his invitation to Krakoa, but she's made her decision and she's going to go with her family. And at this point, the protesters close in who knew she was a mutant, which is something that Wolverine explained with all these people being quote unquote out for mutant blood. But then it's here where he tells her to go ahead, like he'll hold them off, but he also lets her know like if she changes her mind, the offer still stands. But then back over in New York, when they get there in Jilan, she's playing her flute for like 12 hours straight. And like it's here where I also want to add as far as like in reference to her powers and her training, but like in her case, she wasn't trained like a traditional fighter. And instead of her studying martial arts, she studied the mystical arts. And with her having the ability to turn musical notes into like solid constructs, it kind of puts her in this similar place to like Scarlet Witch, to where you had the mixture of mutant powers and magic, but in this case, instead of probability, you have a specific type of matter manipulation as well as a study of the mystic arts, to where in this case, you more or less have the Jade Witch, if that helps it make a little bit more sense. But while they're here watching her and Takeshi once again being skeptical of her even being around, but then it's here where Master Ling steps in and he lets them know that if anything, this is truly what the 5-Weapon Society is about. Cause like we had seen in Volume 1, this society was founded by a group of rebels who had practiced mystical and martial arts, which at the time was illegal to the Qing dynasty, with it being viewed as a power or a threat to those who were in charge. So in a way, with Shang inviting his sister back, it's a lot like the society is heading back to its roots, which once again, it's a good intention, but also much like we had seen before, Shang is doing the same thing as Dad did. And with that being the case, it once again is looking like he's walking down that path of fulfilling that dark prophecy of defeating his sister, rising in power, and burning the world to ashes. But then it's later that night when Jilan is approached by this mysterious figure who just keeps popping up on everybody like I'm putting together a team. But it's here where he pops up and he offers the same solicitation, with him wanting to destroy the 5-Weapon Society because he doesn't believe in fixing it and he doesn't believe in reform for the society, but instead it just needs to be burnt to the ground. Which is an interesting choice of words from this guy. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below so you can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below or over on Discord, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.